Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Craig Nash with Unleashed Advisors, brokered by eXp Realty. And I'm here with Annie Nash, my beautiful wife. She's also a realtor with Unleashed Advisors. Today we are going to talk about the seller's roadmap of how you go about selling your home. So Annie, let's just dive right in. What's step number one?
So step number one is always going to be talk to a real estate professional. So reach out to a realtor, find somebody you trust, and really interview a few. See if you're the right fit together. But that meeting or those meetings with the realtors should involve getting to know who they are. What is their marketing plan for your home? How are they going to price it? And then it really should be a lot of conversation about you and why are you selling? Because your price, it's going to depend on why are you selling? Do you need to sell it really fast? Are you trying to get top dollar? Because the marketing and the pricing really can change based on your motivations.
Right.
So making sure that you're upfront, honest, and open with that, whoever it is you choose. Hopefully it's us. But the first thing is going to be meeting with a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
What would you say is number two?
Well, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but we need to establish a price for your house and understand exactly what the goals are for you of your price point, and kind of understand where you price at, how long it might take to sell your home. You know, if you want to sell it quick, then you're going to obviously price it a little bit lower. But if you're willing to, if you want top dollar, as you said, there's a whole bunch of strategies you can do to get that top dollar, but that's kind of number two, is just to kind of establish a price. And the way we establish a price is we're going to run all the comps and all that stuff for you. We have several different tools that we use, but usually we come up with a pretty accurate price for what it is. And, and most of the time, we don't worry about appraisals coming in low or anything like that, because we're really good at pricing our houses. So.
Yeah, we've done a pretty good job. I do want to add one thing, though. The top dollar, wherever we price it, we're always going to shoot to make you the most money based on, are you willing to let it sit there and find the right buyer to come along?
Right.
Or are we trying to get it done really quick, and we're going to help negotiate and try to fight for our clients to get the most money? And
Very much so.
Yeah, whatever it is that's motivating them, get that for them.
So what's step number three?
Step number three, we've selected your real estate agent. You've figured out what your price is going to be or your price range. Next, it's time to get your home ready. It could be if you need to do any repairs. It could be some of ours, we go in and do a pre-listing inspection to find out, what's wrong with the house, what needs to be fixed up front, so that we can remove that as a negotiating strategy or a negotiating point from a buyer, right? Mm-hmm. So if you find out you've got a double tap breaker, say, you weren't aware of, and you can get that fixed. Well, when you get the inspection back from a buyer, that's not going to be something you have to fix, or a price that you have to reduce because of. So it's
amazing how many inspectors find like loose toilets, loose electrical outlets, and all that stuff. All that stuff can be fixed up front, and then you don't have to.
Right. And then we don't have to start negotiating any repairs or a seller credit because you don't want to do the repairs, or you're not able to do those repairs. But then additionally, bringing in a home stager to make your home look as inviting and as beautiful it can. I'm sure you've done a beautiful job with your home, but a professional can make really little changes that make a huge difference in your home. And then we'll have a professional photographer come in and take photos, do your website, do videos, and all that stuff. And so it's all the preparing the home for the day that we go, it's live.
Right.
How about what's next?
So the next one is actually listing the house on MLS and getting it out all to the websites and all that stuff, and making sure that it looks beautiful on the internet, so everybody can actually see what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And we just get her up and running for you, and
But there's a lot more to that than just clicking the button, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of information that goes in that listing, so we make sure that all of that is correct, and it's very accurate in what you put on there to the public.
Yeah.
So,
This is also when our marketing strategy comes into play, right? It's when we've started reaching out to people. We run advertisements for each one of our listings. We schedule open houses, and we'll work with our client to determine when is the best time to do an open house for you, but also for us so that we can have it well advertised.
and we definitely have a very strategic approach to listing a home. We list it on a certain day to get the most traction.
Right.
When we start it, and like 3 days later, we have an open house, and we go from there. We run multiple ads as far as on the internet, whether it be Google, Facebook, whatever it is.
Right.
We advertise it to every one of a person in our database, which is
All of our clients.
extensive database right now.
Yeah.
So it's just a process that we go through as far as the marketing side of it.
Yeah.
We try to get your home in front of as many people as we possibly can to expose your house to the masses per se, and to get the right buyer in for you.
Yeah. To get that highest offer.
Yes, very much so. So, you get your house listed and all that, and then you start the whole showing process. So, people are going to schedule showings, and they're willing to come take a look at your house in person. We have those times set up for you where it's kind of automatic for easy to access your home and have people view it in person.
Yep.
So what happens after somebody's seen your house and ready to put in an offer on your house?
So they've fallen in love with the listing that we have, and then they're working with their agent and they submit the offer. And that's when, like I keep saying that our job, that's when we really step in. But the whole process is very involved. But that's when we will present the offer to all of our client, or to our seller client, and talk about what do we need to negotiate, or what do you want to negotiate as the seller? What is important to you? Has this buyer really given you a compelling offer? If not, and you want to continue trying to negotiate, what are some of the things that we can negotiate? And to get you the offer that will help you move. So that's kind of a shorter step, but yeah, it's when you get the offer, it's time to negotiate. So all the negotiations.
So what would be something that you might negotiate besides price?
Closing date, closing attorney. There's a due diligence period. Sometimes when I'm working with my buyers, of course, I want them to have the longest time period they can so that they can do inspections and we can negotiate and all that stuff. But on the seller side, I want that to be a little bit shorter. So finding that pinch point, if you will, between what the buyer's willing to give up, but also how long the seller's willing to keep the house off the market so that, Mr. Buyer, you can go do your inspections. There's a few other, can you think of anything else that you would?
Well, earnest money is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Just stuff like that.
Any of the personal property that would stay.
Yeah.
So does the refrigerator stay or do you take it with you?
Yeah.
Those
stuff
things.
like that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different, other than just the price, there's a lot of the things that are negotiable in there.
Yeah. So you finally come to an agreement and you're under contract. What's the next step?
The next step is getting through. So your buyer is going to do their inspections, and then you're going to likely see a repair request. And then
Hopefully we eliminated that for you.
Hopefully we've eliminated that. But I mean, the inspectors are going to find something. That's kind of what their job is, right?
They like keeping their jobs, so they're
they're important to have. But they're going to come back and, they may ask for something to be repaired. And so that's when we go find estimates to figure out how much is it going to cost you to get that repaired. And if it's not something that...
So do you find them, or...
I work with my clients to find them. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Help them get those estimates so that they know how much they're going to have to spend.
We kind of have a list of vendors, don't we?
We do. Yeah. Yeah, we give them a list. But sometimes somebody finds somebody else that's not been on my list or I haven't worked with. And if they give us a good, if they work well with my client, I will add them to my list because anybody who's going to take care of my clients, I'll use them again.
Yeah.
So what's next?
So that's another negotiating point with the repairs and stuff like that. So it depends on what you want to repair and what you don't want to repair. So
Well, and if it's a hard thing or it's the buyer is positive, they want whatever it is fixed, maybe a seller credit would work.
yeah,
If
there's always ways to negotiate
Right.
that to where it works out for both
Because
sides.
we've had one where the roof needed to be replaced. There had been hail damage, but we couldn't get a roofer out there in time. And we were able to negotiate a credit, and we had the invoice and everything, so it would be paid after closing. But so that
So
buyer
you
got a
actually
new roof.
put that money into an escrow account
Correct.
and got paid later.
Yeah, when the work was done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So that buyer got to move into a house. They got a pretty new roof, but after closing.
Yeah.
And it was paid for by the seller.
Yep. There's always ways to get around, to get
work
the
it
deal
out.
done and
Yeah.
get to the closing table.
Yep.
So after you negotiated all those things, what usually happens next?
So now we're waiting for appraisal, the title work, all those things. You're going to get questions about what's your payoff on your mortgage, and all of those. Your closing attorney will calculate up all the costs, and then you'll get a number, and here's your check at the end, and your mortgage will be paid off, and should be. Your mortgage is paid off in full, and then you get whatever the proceeds are, and the seller pays the commissions. So that comes out of the seller side, but. Then you're homeless. Or you're without that home. Maybe not homeless. But yeah, so that's kind of the process.
So let's back up just a step. The appraisal is also another negotiating point. If it comes in low, then, lenders aren't going to lend but what the house is worth. So according to
So what's the
appraisal.
importance of the appraisal? What's the importance of the appraisal?
Well, to make sure that, that the house is priced right to begin with. So you understand exactly what to expect when the appraiser comes around and says your house is worth this.
Right.
So, lenders don't loan $500,000 on a house when it's only worth $400,000. They're going to lend $400,000 on the house. So,
Right. Yep.
So that's the important part about the appraisal. Make sure that it comes in right.
Yeah. It's to protect the bank's investment.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So sometimes the appraisal gets weighed, but really depends on the client. So, but after that, you're sitting down and signing papers, right?
Yeah,
After
yeah.
all the final details are worked out, and
Yep. And you're handing the keys over to the buyer.
uh-huh,
So yeah, they've got a pretty new house, and you're on to the next.
yep. So, but that's kind of the process, isn't it? So.
It is.
So we'd love to help you out if you decide to sell in this area. Give us a call, and look forward to you on the next podcast.
Look out, world. We are unleashed.